Good morning, students. Today, let me explain you about the last concept of this digestion chapter, that is, role of fibers, prebiotics, and probiotics. What are probiotics? Probiotic is an oral supplement or a food product that contains a sufficient number of viable microorganisms to alter the microflora of the host and has potential health benefits. Whereas prebiotic, it is a non-digestible food ingredient that benefits the host by selectively stimulating the favorable growth and or activity of one or more indigenous probiotic bacteria. So this is with reference to the brief introduction about probiotic and prebiotic. So probiotic is an oral supplement of food product that contains a sufficient number of viable microorganisms which are beneficial to the human system, which are known to alter the microflora of the host and has potential health benefits. Our digestive system or the GIT, it has a number of flora, that is microflora, or in other words the bacteria organisms, which are said to be mostly beneficial, and there might be some non-beneficial or harmful bacteria are also present. So of this, these probiotics induce the growth of such beneficial microorganisms, and such products are called probiotics. Whereas prebiotic, it is a non-digestible food element or the ingredient that benefits the host by selectively stimulating the favorable growth and activity of one or more types of indigenous probiotic bacteria. That means prebiotics induces the growth of such probiotic bacteria. So that is the basic concept of this probiotic and prebiotic. So what is synbiotic? It is a product that contains both probiotics and prebiotics. So it is a combination of both probiotic and prebiotic. There is also a product called postbiotic, a metabolic byproduct generated by a probiotic microorganism that influences the host biological functions. So such products are called postbiotics. Coming to functional food. Any modified food that provides a health benefit beyond that ascribed to any specific nutrient or nutrients, and it contains such beneficial products only. So such a food is called a functional food. So it is a modified, or in other words, it is a product that has been added with some flavors or some kind of nutrient rich elements that are very essential for the human body. Example, yogurt. It contains probiotic bacteria, prebiotics and other dietary nutrients. What are probiotics? The microorganisms, typically the members of the genera Lactobacillus, Bifidobacterium and Streptococcus. There are other such bacterial species or genera are also there, but these three are said to be very important. And these bacteria are fermentive, or obligatory, or facultative, or anaerobic organisms. And they are typically non-motile and of varying shapes, predominant and prevail over potential pathogenic microorganisms in the GIT, that is gastrointestinal tract. The most studied probiotic bacteria are Lactobacillus rhamnosus, GG, that is popularly abbreviated as LGG, Bifidobacterium lactis and Streptococcus thermophilus. The other bacteria in the gut are Klebsiella, Pseudomonas, Serratia and Proteus species, which also may be prominent flora. How probiotics help? They generate small molecular metabolic byproducts like short chain fatty acids such as butyrate, lactic acid, and these products are toxic to the opportunistic pathogens present in the gut. So that is how these probiotics work. Coming to some possible use of probiotics. They are used in the following things: preventing acute gastrointestinal tract infections in healthy infants and children, treatment of acute infectious diarrhea, prevention of antibiotic associated diarrhea, prevention of atopic disease and treatment of atopic disease, prevention of necrotizing enterocolitis, treatment of human pylori infection and chronic IBD, and treatment of chronic ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, popularly abbreviated as IBD, and constipation, treatment of infantile colic, and combined prebiotics and probiotics to prevent allergy. So these are the possible uses of probiotics. Why are probiotics important for human health? So that has been explained here with the help of a flow chart, the pictorial representation. As you see here on the left hand side, there will be some antibiotics, because of which they are going continuous use of antibiotics. They are known to destroy the gut microflora, and they are going to cause the problems in digestion. And alcohol consumption may also lead to the emergence of antibiotic resistant strains in our body that leads to the problems in the absorption of nutrients in the body. And even stress, they are also known to induce the emergence of antibiotic resistant strains, and that leads to the problems in absorption of nutrients in the body. So these are the possible benefits of probiotics. Let us go through another flow chart here about the importance or the significance of probiotics. And these probiotics, they are going to induce the normalization of the intestine, that is normal functioning of the intestine, and immunomodulation and metabolic effects. So these are the three main effects that are being gained by the use of probiotics: normalization of intestine, immunomodulation, and metabolic effects. Coming to the first one, normalization of intestine, where it is going to suppress the PPMS and intestinal mucosal integrity is being maintained, and regulation of bowel movements. So these are the benefits of the first one, that is normalization of the intestine. And with reference to the immunomodulation, it benefits in the strengthening of the immunity and elevate food allergy symptoms, and it helps in controlling of IBD. And coming to the metabolic effects, it helps in the production of vitamins and improves digestion, and lactose tolerance is going to be induced and lowers the cholesterol deposition in the body. Coming to probiotics in the treatment of gastrointestinal disorders, the first one being diarrhea, where acute infections of the antibiotic associated things, they are the first thing that is been responsible by the use of this probiotics. And lactose intolerance, as I have mentioned in the previous slide, constipation is going to be avoided, and human pylori eradication, that is another benefit. And IBD, that is, what is IBD? It is the improper bowel disorders of the human digestive system. And ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, pouchitis. So these are the other infections by which these probiotics are going to help. Coming to some health benefits of fibers, prebiotics and probiotics. Gastrointestinal health in regard to the gut microbiome is a rapidly emerging field and has many key components driving its emergence. Fiber, prebiotics and probiotics are all dietary components that can play a critical role in maintaining a healthy gut microflora. Fiber has long been appreciated for its influential role in cardiovascular diseases, glycemic control, and weight management through various physiological mechanisms. Prebiotics have been shown to play an influential role in irritable bowel symptoms or diseases, colon cancer, cardiovascular disease, and overall digestive health. Together, various types of fibers and prebiotics have been targeted and synthesized to influence the gut microbiome, specifically Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium populations. Lactobacillus species and Bifidobacterium species are common markers for gut health because they have been shown to down regulate the inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract and alleviate irritable bowel syndrome symptoms and stimulate immune functions, aid in mineral absorption, and produce little, if any, gas or known carcinogenic substances present in the GIT. So these are some other possible health benefits of these three things like fibers, prebiotics, and probiotics. And below are some of the health benefits that fiber offers. The importance of fiber. That is why the experts who are in nutritional field, who are referred to as dietitians, and they are going to recommend the more usage of these roughages, which provide large amount of fibers to our body. And it is also evident that if you consume more amount of fiber, it helps you to feel full. That means you will not be tempted to eat more food if you consume more amount of fibrous rich food or the roughages. So fiber adds bulk to your foods, which offer an extended feeling of fullness when you eat. And it also aids bowel regularity. The fiber adds bulk and absorbs water in the stool, which helps to propel your natural bowel movement and contribute to keeping you regular. So, in other words, it avoids the constipation problem. And it helps in microbiome thrive. Many fibers promote the growth of the good bacteria present in the lower portion of the digestive tract, which additionally aids in digestive balance. And it can lower the cholesterol level too. The consistency of certain fibers help absorb bile salts, thereby forcing your body to utilize cholesterol to make more bile. It can help to control blood sugar also, and some fibers help slow the absorption of the sugars in your food, which can help keep your blood sugars more level. So that is why a person who is suffering from diabetes mellitus, or the otherwise it as sugar disease, doctors are going to recommend them to consume green salad of more, because the green salads, as you know, it contains more amount of fibers, which will help the patients to feel full in the stomach, and as well as it releases the glucose slowly into the bloodstream. And it is also including fiber in your diet. That is, dietary fiber is most abundantly in whole grains, legumes, vegetables, and fruits. Some of the highest fiber containing foods include bran, barley, oats, beans, broccoli, sweet potatoes, raspberries, and blackberries. Consuming fiber is a key to supporting regularity with your bowel movements, whether as part of the foods you eat or the intake or a fiber supplement for days you might fall short. Soluble and insoluble fiber can play a role in keeping your natural bowel movement comfortable and gentle. Here are some simple tips to help you decide which type of fiber you might need or more of in your diet. The first thing is soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is found in foods like oats, barley, as well as in some fiber supplements such as psyllium and partially hydrolyzed guar gum. Soluble fiber is fermentable, which means it provides fuel for the intestinal microbiota. And some forms of the soluble fiber are viscous and can hold good amount of water, and this can assist with softening hard stool and firming liquid stool. So it prevents the constipation problem. Coming to insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber is found in foods like wheat bran and cabbage, and ingredients like pea fiber. And the insoluble fiber is non-viscous, meaning it does not absorb water but acts rather to create bulk in the bowel. So this is another type of fiber what is called as insoluble fiber. So here is the chart showing you the different types of fibers like dietary fiber, which includes hemicellulose, pectin, gums and resistant starch, and soluble fibers, which includes B-glucans, gums, wheat dextrin, psyllium, pectin, inulin, and fermentable fiber, the third type, which are found in wheat dextrin, pectin, B-glucans, guar gum and inulin. So these are the different types of fibers that can be seen. Coming to the health benefits of dietary fiber have long been appreciated. Higher intakes of dietary fiber are linked to less cardiovascular diseases, and fiber plays a role in gut health. So not only for diabetics, the fiber intake is recommended even for people or the patients who are suffering from cardiovascular diseases. And they have many effective laxatives, actually isolated fiber sources. The higher intake of fiber are linked to lower body weights. Only polysaccharides were included in dietary fiber originally, but more recent definitions have included like oligosaccharides as dietary fiber, not based on their chemical measurement, but as dietary fiber by the accepted total dietary fiber, which is shortly abbreviated as TDF, that is total dietary fiber method. But on the physiological effects, it is very important. Inulin, a fructooligosaccharide, and other oligosaccharides are included as fiber in food labels in US, and additionally oligosaccharides are the best known prebiotics, a selectively fermented ingredient that allows specific changes both in the composition and or activity in the gastrointestinal microflora that confers benefits upon host well-being and health. To date, all known and suspected prebiotics are carbohydrate compounds only, primarily oligosaccharides, known to resist digestion in the human small intestine and reach the colon, where they are fermented by the gut microflora. And studies have provided evidence that inulin and oligofructose and lactulose and resistant starch meet all are the aspects of the definition, including the stimulation of bifidobacterium, a beneficial bacterial genus, and other isolated carbohydrates and carbohydrate containing foods, including galacto-oligosaccharides, abbreviated shortly as GOS, and trans-galacto-oligosaccharides, shortly abbreviated as TOS, polydextrose, wheat dextrin, acacia gum, psyllium, banana, whole grain wheat, and whole grain corn also have prebiotic effects. So these are some food items that are known to have prebiotic effects. Coming to probiotics again, probiotics are the bacteria and yeast that are good for you, especially your digestive system, and we usually think of these as germs that cause diseases, but our body is full of bacteria, both good and bad, and probiotics are often called good or helpful bacteria because they help keep your gut healthy. And you can find probiotics in supplements and some foods like yogurt, and doctors often suggest that it helps the uh, patients with digestive problems. And some other benefits of probiotics: when you lose good bacteria in your body, for example, after you take antibiotics, probiotics can help replace them. That is why when a doctor recommends a patient a kind of antibiotic, addition to that antibiotic, the doctor will suggest to take one vitamin B complex tablet, because that will flourish the growth of the useful bacteria and avoids the problem of what you call diarrhea or the dysentery. And they can help balance your good and bad bacteria to keep your body working the way it should. So these are some other benefits of probiotics. Coming to the types of probiotics, many types of bacteria are classified as probiotics, and they are all have different benefits, but most are come from two groups. That thing I already told you. One is lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, and then Saccharomyces boulardii. So the details of which is given here, and that is for your other extra information which you can read it later. And some other benefits of probiotics are as follows, which help to treat or manage the following conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, infectious diarrhea, diarrhea caused by antibiotics, skin conditions like eczema, urinary and vaginal health, preventing allergies and colds, and keeping good oral health. So these are other benefits of probiotics. Now coming to prebiotics, the concept of prebiotic was introduced by Gibson and Robert Fall, and in 1995. And the prebiotics are nothing but non-digestible food ingredients that beneficially affect the host by selectively stimulating the growth and activity of one or a limited number of bacteria in the colon that can improve the host health. Examples: garlic, onions, chicory root, asparagus, wheat, rye, barley, breast milk, tomatoes, berries, and bananas. Established prebiotics. These are obtained or manufactured by inulin. Extraction from chicory root, wheat, banana, garlic, high fructose oligosaccharides, trans fructosylation from sucrose, or hydrolysis of chicory inulin galacto-oligosaccharides. And some of them are produced from lactose by beta-galactosidase, and milk SOS, that is soya oligosaccharides, and some of them are also extracted from soya bean, whey, that is XOS, xylo-oligosaccharides, and the enzymatic hydrolysis of xylon producing IMO, that is isomalto-oligosaccharides, and transgalactosylation of maltose by pyrodextrins. So these are some good examples of prebiotics. And the breast milk of humans is also known to contain some good prebiotics, which are called breast milk oligosaccharides, and they represent the third largest component of human milk, having a composition of about 20 to 23 grams per liter in colostrum, and 12 to 14 grams per liter in mature milk. So this is what the details of prebiotics. And now let us go through a brief note on prebiotics versus probiotics. So prebiotics are defined as non-living, non-digestible, special form of fiber or carbohydrates. whereas probiotics are referred to as live active microorganisms that when administered in adequate amount will have beneficial effects to its host. So it is very clear now that prebiotics are non-living type, whereas probiotics are living type. And prebiotics, if they are consumed in good or right amounts, will induce the growth of probiotics, that is healthy bacteria in our system, so that we can have the health benefits. And prebiotics, the powder form of prebiotics can survive heat, cold and acid, whereas probiotics, that is the microorganisms, they are more fragile, vulnerable to heat, and they may be killed over time because of acid and other such chemicals. And prebiotics perform their role by nourishing the bacteria that live in the intestine, whereas probiotics fight the harmful bacteria species present in the gut. So these are all some uh, good differences between probiotics and prebiotics. So with this, I have completed this chapter. Thank you.